Lights, camera, debate, ignite, passion strong under the spotlight. Tune in for the clash, tune in for the spark. The critic and the cynic light up the dark.
Welcome back to the Critic and the Cynic. We have Operation Nutcracker.
Terrible title.
Terrible title. One of the worst posters that I've seen this entire time. This says it was released July 1st, 2024?
I don't know.
Now, it could have been released to the Hallmark channel just in October. Like, that might have come out to maybe a theater that immediately regretted showing it.
Well, yeah.
But this is it looks like a Canadian studio.
Okay, so maybe it was released in Canada.
Canadian Christmas? I don't know. We got, I don't know how to say that word, Christopher Russell and Mia Swaminathan. Wow.
This is by far the smallest cast list. There's only 3
Yeah,
people.
there's 3 people on this cast list, unless it's just not showing you anybody. And again, it's a short summary. And this one says, when an antique nutcracker set to be auctioned at the Warby family Christmas charity goes missing, a demanding event planner and the heir to the Warby dynasty try to track it down. You like nutcracker stories?
No.
Either do I. I remember watching that Nutcracker, like they tried to make a trilogy of like fantasy movies called The Nutcracker and the 5 Realms or something like that, and it was just messy. But that was like Hollywood, like blockbuster-esque. Like they had the great budget and everything. I just never cared about Nutcracker stories.
See, my mom collects nutcrackers.
I'm fine with using nutcrackers to crack nuts, even though they're not really made for that.
No, they're decorative.
You'll break them. But like I'm still fine with doing it because it's like, why not? Decorative, but if you can find a cheap one, it doesn't really matter if it's decorative or not. This one sounds boring.
Yes, and
Looks like they had a bad marketing team. And like the backdrop picture is literally just the man, the woman in a large nutcracker staring at the camera in front of a white background. It's just boring. It's bland. It's blah.
I get like heist vibes from like what we're seeing here, which is a little bit concerning.
Your genres are romance and comedy. There's no action. There's no thriller. There's no espionage.
I'm gonna say that there's going to be. Maybe it's not listed, but that is a prediction.
The best thing about any kind of Nutcracker movie is the music, usually. That's it. That's why you watch the Nutcracker ballet, right? Yeah, that's the best part of any Nutcracker story. Actually trying to fit a narrative in there is just going to be bland. I am not looking forward to this one whatsoever. Getting my hand on my veto. No, it's too early. It's too early to veto anything.
Yeah, because there's some doozies coming up.
Oh, yeah. But you can also argue that they saved the best for last, so the beginning is going to be your doozies. Maybe.
Okay, but the best for the people, like the actual audience, could be the worst for us because we're not really the target audience.
That's true.
2 hours later.
Operation Nutcracker.
Terrible name.
Well, it's not the greatest name. It's not the greatest poster. We already talked about that. It's like literally as plain can be, where it's just promo pictures of our leads, as well as a gigantic nutcracker in the background, which is not the nutcracker in question. It's just a nutcracker in the promotional materials. The real nutcracker is like this yellowish, supposed to be golden-ish, shiny nutcracker that is some kind of antique that's worth millions or something. It's supposed to, but as everybody in comments online have stated, the one thing that stands out about the film is this entire film hinges on this supposed nutcracker that is it's just worth so much, and it's an antique. You can't touch it too delicately or whatever. However, you just look at the thing and it's
It looks like you could walk into any drugstore at around Christmas time and just pick it off the shelf. There's nothing special about it.
There's nothing special about it. Yeah, that's what's actually funny about the movie, because they're like, it's almost like they're worshiping this thing like it's an idol, but in all actuality, it's a normal thing. When it comes down to the plot of the film itself, I was instantly reminded of another Christmas movie that's a lot more beloved in general, which would be Jingle All the Way with Arnold Schwarzenegger and Sinbad and a lot of comedians that I really love that movie, in which you're talking about a bunch of adults that are hunting down a toy that everybody wants, right? Everybody wants, and so they are having the most difficult time doing it, and hijinks ensue. So the first thing that I'm thinking of is that, which on its own is totally fine, but I will agree with you in saying that over time, it just got to be boring.
Yeah, I found this one to be really boring and really predictable, actually. They're all mostly predictable,
Yeah.
but I don't know. It's like you didn't even need to watch it. You're like, I know exactly what's going to happen.
Predictability wise, that's ultimately what you're going to get with Hallmark. I think almost all of them were pretty predictable at the end of the day. Though what you can say, I think, for this one specifically, is that it was not convoluted.
No, it had a singular focus. I would say that the acting also was fine. It was nothing spectacular, but it wasn't really demanding on the actors either.
Right. Now, I will say, at the very beginning of the movie, and we both agreed, I looked at you as this guy, which was the first time that I really actually liked one of the male characters in one of these movies. This was short-lived, though.
Yeah, when he first showed up, he definitely had like this natural ease about him, and that was refreshing because everybody else seemed a little bit stiff and boring.
Fake.
Yeah, fake.
A lot of them felt fake. Even though what was weird about it was he literally was fake, because he had a very obviously fake beard plastered onto his face with Elmer's glue or whatever was going on there. It didn't look good.
No.
But as weird as it sounds, I feel like part of the natural part about him, and the thing that kind of stuck out compared to everybody else in the film, was the beard, because that's the one thing. He would be scraggly while everybody else is weirdly fake perfect.
Yeah.
He didn't really care so much, and he was charming that way, and it was cool. But we all knew he was going to shave because the beard looked horrendous, and as soon as he did, it was night and day.
Yeah, he was very Jake after that.
Yeah, he turned into Ken, and then the female character in the film was basically Barbie. Everybody looked fake, and they acted fake. When I tried to look past their visual appearances, I still think he had natural charisma about him, but he just, appearance-wise, he just looked way too pristine.
But then again, these were very wealthy people. Very successful, wealthy people, and like that type, they tend to look fake in general because they've got the money to make them look that way.
But the way that they introduced his character was that it was just more natural, because it's like, oh, whatever.
Yeah.
And then his sister was like, you're gonna shave that before the auction, right? Or whatever. And then the mom came by and she said the same thing, and he's sitting there like, I wasn't planning on it, because as a character, he didn't seem like the others. He seemed more genuine.
Well, yeah, and he was supposed to be more of like the free spirit kind of, I don't care about the family riches, I'm gonna go travel the world.
I'm gonna do what I'm gonna do,
Yeah.
and whatever. If you don't like it, you don't like it. But again, once he shaved, it was like, you could have fooled me. Now you just fit in with everybody else, and I don't care so much about your character. So, had they kept his bearded look, or really, if they cast him saying we need somebody who is bearded, it wouldn't look so fake, because it would just be actually real, and then his character could stand out a little bit more. But as it is, the characters are probably the worst part of the movie at the end of the day, because you didn't care. Though I do the characters that ended up with the lost Nutcracker, that family, just your average family, I cared about them. But they were not the main characters.
No.
So, at the end of the day, yeah.
I don't know.
It was average.
It was average.
You start off the movie, you're like, I don't know, I'm gonna click the crap button.
Well, yeah, and I did debate clicking the veto button.
Or veto button, right.
It's like,
the
oh,
veto.
this is just so boring.
But like I said, for the most part, boring is as boring does. It doesn't mean a movie's actually crap. And that's what I'm holding off for. I'm holding off for a movie that's actually crap and not just boring. Because I expect bad from Hallmark, not just boring. And I haven't really seen anything bad. Just a lot of boring stuff. Out of 10 percentage, whatever.
45 to 50. It was just there. It was on the boring side, but it wasn't terrible. It wasn't good. It was just there.
For me, it started off pretty strong, but it got to that boring atmosphere. So I'm gonna go with like 55%, right along where you were at, just a little bit higher, still in that mid-range. But yeah.